With what do you identify yourself? Codependent, interdependent, or independent? You see, many of us grew up in a way where we have learned some patterns, where we learned how to be with people. We learned behavior, and now we think they're actually our own. The way how we feel, we have maybe added them, and we think they're our own. But do you choose consciously that this is true? You see, I grew up where I thought I will never be in a situation where I'm not independent. Because let's be real, I really like my independency. I really, really enjoy that. But you see, together we are just stronger. That's a fact. We are stronger together. We can do more together. We can grow more together. We can love more together. You know, there is so much more than being independent. Yet many people live in a codependent relationship, right? I'm not saying this is bad or this is good. I'm just saying look at it how it feels for you. You see, being codependent oftentimes means we have very low self-esteem. It means our confidence is not really good. It means we think that we need to control other people and therefore fix their problems. We believe that their value is way higher than ours. We think that that being our own self is wrong because we have to care for them. Learning those traits, understanding that they might not be healthy, you know, they might not fit anymore with where you want to go. And I'm just opening up the possibility that this might not be how you want to live anymore, right? I'm not saying go and do it, quit any relationship, whatever. I'm saying sit down and understand your behavior style, understand your patterning, understand where you're coming from. How did you grow up? What did you see, right? What has been taught to you? I learned to be very independent and that this is the number one goal. I had various trust issues because I never trusted anybody else that they could do it. So I trusted and relied on myself, right? Nothing necessarily wrong with it. The problem is if we want an involved relationship that is about, hey, let's grow together in a loving way, right? It's difficult then, right? How do you want to do that if you're so independent that you basically don't need anybody else? And you see, the difference is when you're independent is you rely on yourself. And it works, I tell you, it works really well. Being codependent works really well, right? I mean, it serves the purpose. That's why you are there, right? That's why you're doing it, is because you're getting something out of it. So blaming other people, saying, hey, you knew that I have those patternings, and it's you. Let's think again, right? Because we get something out of it too. It's quite an interesting perspective, right? I like to really use a little bit humor here because, else it gets really, really heavy. And I think that's not how we should look at life. I think that having a little smile here and there cannot be too bad, cannot be bad at all, because those things are difficult or are heavy if we are not laughing about ourselves, realizing, oh, I might have in my codependency, in my patterning, I might actually have enabled that person's patterning over there. And I might even have supported their stuff. Oh, well, I could change it, right? I could change it. Not saying this is easy. I'm just opening up to the possibility. What if we would explore? What if we would try something else, right? I actually have a whole list on codependency. I've written down a whole list, right? But I actually think that I'm just going to skip that because, I think what I've said about codependency did actually already serve the purpose. I want you to understand that, there is nothing that you cannot change. See, being codependent, sometimes it's so shameful, right? It's like, really, you have so low self-esteem, this and this is not good, blah, 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 blah. And the story goes on. But I'm like, hey, it's okay. You can change any moment you want to. Even if it's difficult, even if it's hard and painful. I've seen it so many times. So you can do that too. Okay, let's say you go from one extreme to the other, right? I mean, this is oftentimes how we experience it. It's like we go from here to kind of understand what we have done wrong before. So let's go into being independent, right? Empower yourself, rely on yourself, understand your personal values, know your desires and goals, right? Going all this way, right? Being very, I wouldn't say self-centered, but like focused on the self and what you want. And I believe actually that this is really crucial in order to grow together. You see, you cannot rely on someone else that they know what you need. You see, that's why I actually believe that it's quite helpful to go from one trait or one pattern a little bit in the opposite to understand, oh, maybe there is a middle way too. But to find the middle way, I need to maybe experience both extremes. So the independent person, and I can really rely on this one or really feel myself into this, is very actively taking steps towards where we want to go. Being very much in the view of your goals, your desires, being a go-getter, right? I experienced this as quite driven, as quite fast movement too, and quite like, this is my way and I'm gonna do it, right? It's difficult because the resting thing, like to calm yourself down in the midst of the whole thing, is not really there. I never felt really peaceful. But I felt a lot of freedom because, being free to experience, being able to just go and to just do things, to feel things, to move in those kind of worlds that you want to experience, whatever that is. You have a very much big flexibility, right? So you open up the door to other people's viewpoints. And you're very much fine with that because the autonomy that you have created inside of you is stable, is safe, is secure, right? is very, okay, you have another view, fine for me. Like, it doesn't bother you anymore. You're not bothered by something like that. Another thing is, of course, that you are getting much more self-confidence because you're in this in your own field, right? And you practice that. You practice to be alone. You practice to be with yourself. You practice what is triggering you. You're very, very much in that space. Therefore, you also have an emotional resilience. You have built a lot of strength toward your emotions. You understand your emotions. You know how to express yourself. You know how to put words to them. Maybe even you have a very critical thinking, which is about, viewing a situation, understanding that, oh, maybe I need to get more information here or here because what I see here might not be the total, right? You are very, I think you very much opened your heart to yourself. I mean, it depends how you're doing it, how you're practicing it. But I believe that that's very much possible. You start to open up your heart to yourself. You start to not see yourself in such a bad light that maybe you have once done, right? You start to give yourself more peace, more grace, and all of this goes together. Now, what are the issues with that? Well, you start to really go in that hermit mode, which is not a bad thing, but at one point you may want to get out again because you want to see how you can involve with another, right? And being in this involved state also means that you will feel a little insecure because you start a new pattern. You start to open up again, and to give yourself grace in that period is so important, is so crucial, because it's difficult to go from one behavior to another one while not denying the ones that you have learned before. You have learned your stuff very, very well, and now it's about making a shift, making a change, right? So when we go to being in interdependence state, right? Being together is about being collaborative, right? Looking for win-wins for both people, leaving space for the other ones to create, to be themselves, to feel themselves, right? Not to constantly put pressure on someone, right? To give them space to be in a giving and receiving state too, where you are actually looking out for helping and supporting each other, but you're also here to receive. You're also here to receive equally. You start to realize each unique gifts, if you so want, right? Each gifts that everyone has, right, are different. And so you start to put all of this on the table, and you start to use those strength, if you so want, together. It's not anymore, oh, I have only this quality or only this quality. Oh, now all of a sudden we have actually certain many qualities together, so we can bring this up to the table. And doing this together is just so much fun. It's so much enjoy. And I think that, sometimes we try to run. We try to run and to not go there, but we are missing out so many beautiful moments that I just feel like I wanted to share this today, is about learn to be independent, learn to be on your own, but also open up to be with someone again, open up to love, open up to joy, because together you can just also experience a lot of beauty. And it's not only about being the lone wolf, it's not only about showing up alone. While being alone doesn't mean lonely, this is a very, very huge difference. I never felt I need someone next to me. Never felt that actually. I never felt lonely in a sense. If I don't have anyone, I'm not complete. You see, I think that if you feel whole, you start to see the other person as a whole person too. And you start to see that their needs, they will communicate that. They will communicate what they need. And you will do the same, right? You will start to share very much different than being in the other two sectors. All right, my loves. I hope this video has helped you. However, I have to say goodbye to you now. And yeah, I wish you a wonderful day. Let me know in the comments section if you want to hear more about this topic, and then we see each other soon.